Supporters call it a victory for states' rights and school choice, while critics warn of chaos and inequality in education. So why did Trump make this move? What happens next? And how will this impact students, teachers, and parents across the country? Let's break it all down. Why did Trump shut down the Department of Education? For decades, Trump and other conservatives have criticized the Department of Education, DOE, as wasteful, bureaucratic, and ineffective. His reasoning for shutting it down? To return power to the states and parents. Here are the main arguments behind this decision. Federal overreach into education. The DOE has been accused of pushing political agendas instead of improving education. Critics argue that local and state governments should control schools, not Washington bureaucrats. Wasted taxpayer money. The DOE's budget is over $80 billion per year, but test scores and student performance continue to decline. Trump's administration claims eliminating the DOE saves billions, which can be used directly in classrooms instead of funding federal bureaucracy. Empowering school choice. With the DOE gone, states can expand school vouchers, charter schools, and homeschooling. Trump has long supported parents choosing where their kids go to school, public, private, or homeschool. Ending woke indoctrination. Many conservatives argue that the DOE has been promoting leftist ideologies in schools. Shutting it down, they say, removes federal influence over curriculum and restores traditional education values. What happens next? With the DOE gone, the responsibility for education falls entirely on the states. This means state governments take over. Each state will now be fully responsible for setting its own education policies. Some states will expand school choice, while others may increase public school funding. Funding becomes a state issue. Federal education, grants, and programs will either disappear or be distributed differently. States must find new ways to fund schools, possibly raising local taxes or reallocating budgets. No more federal education standards. Programs like Common Core and No Child Left Behind will be fully eliminated. Each state will set its own testing and graduation requirements. Changes in student loans and grants. The federal government previously controlled student loans and Pell Grants. Without the DOE, these programs may be shifted to the Treasury Department or privatized. Supporters. This is a huge win for freedom. Conservatives and school choice advocates are celebrating this decision, calling it a win for freedom and local control. Their key arguments. Parents get more power. Families can choose better schools for their children. No more federal indoctrination. States can set their own curriculum without Washington interference. More efficient spending. Instead of wasting billions on bureaucracy, states can directly invest in schools. Encourages competition. Private schools, charter schools, and homeschooling will expand without federal regulations holding them back. Critics. This will destroy public education. On the other side, Democrats, teachers' unions, and public school advocates are warning that this move will hurt millions of students. Their biggest concerns. Widening education. Inequality. Wealthy states may improve schools, while poorer states struggle to fund them. Lack of federal protections. Civil rights protections for students with disabilities and minority groups could be weakened. Collapse of public schools. Without federal funding, some public schools may shut down entirely. Privatization risks. Turning education into a free market system could leave low-income families behind. How will states react? Different states will take different approaches to education reform. Here's how things might unfold. Red states, Texas, Florida, Tennessee, etc., will expand school choice, vouchers, and charter schools. May eliminate woke curriculum mandates. Likely to reduce regulations on homeschooling. Blue states, California, New York, Illinois, etc., will likely increase state taxes to replace lost federal funds. May double down on public school funding. Likely to keep current education policies in place. What happens to student loans and college funding? The DOE was responsible for handling student loans, Pell Grants, and college funding. With its shutdown, here's what might happen. Federal student loans may be privatized, making it harder to get low-interest loans. Pell Grants and financial aid programs may be transferred to the Treasury Department. Colleges may adjust tuition costs based on new funding policies. States may create their own scholarship programs to help students afford college. This could make higher education more competitive, but also more expensive. Is this the end of federal education? Some are asking, will another administration bring back the DOE? Scenario 1. It's gone for good. If Trump's policies succeed, the DOE may be permanently dismantled. Future presidents would have a harder time reinstating it due to budget changes. Scenario 2. A future president restores it. If a Democrat wins in 2028, they could try to reinstate the DOE. This would require massive political effort and funding shifts. For now, the Department of Education is history, but whether it stays that way depends on who controls Washington in the future. Final thoughts. Is this a good move or a disaster? Trump has delivered on a long-time conservative promise, ending the Department of Education. But the big question remains. Will this revolutionize American education, giving parents and states more control? Or will it lead to chaos, inequality, and the decline of public schools? What do you think? Is shutting down the DOE a smart move or a disaster waiting to happen? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe for more breaking political analysis.